Genesis chapter 39 from verse 2 to 4. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put in his hand. Verse 19 to 20. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which he spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant unto me, that his wrath was kindled. And his master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. Verse 22 to 23. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, it was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made to prosper. Beloved, as soon as Joseph landed in Egypt, the presence of God landed with him also. But it was Portiphar that first discovered that the presence of God was with Joseph, and because of that, he quickly hijacked Joseph and he made him to become manager of his property. But the wife of Portiphar lied against Joseph, and Joseph was not going to find grace in the sight of Portiphar. He committed him to the prison. When he got to the prison, the keeper of the prison saw him, and he committed unto him the prisoners. And the Bible said the presence of the Lord again was with him. This time around, the presence of the Lord with Joseph was not to keep the property of Portiphar, but to keep the prisoners in the prison. The presence of God in the life of Joseph was not to manage property, but to manage people, to manage lives for God. God did not descend on Joseph so that he can manage estate, but so that he can make estranged sinners. God did not come upon Joseph so that he can become a manager of Potiphar's business, but to manage backsliders for God. Sir, have you also discovered that God's grace over your life is not to be used and to be usurped by that boss? Have you also realized that God did not make you to be extraordinary problem solver so that you can multiply the branches of business for your boss, but so that you can establish and propagate God's kingdom on earth? Have you realized that your first class that you have in business administration is not primarily for you to become a business manager, but for you to become a maker of broken homes for Christ? God poured that grace, that anointing, that ability upon you so that you can become a tool in his hand, so that you can become a vessel at this end time. You did not gain admission so that you can pursue academics, but to pursue holiness and righteousness, and also establish God's kingdom on that campus. God released that great blessing of money for you, not for you to multiply your mansions, but for you to use it to make disciples for him. I hope it is not men that are enjoying the grace of God over your life. I hope it is not men that are sapping the juice of God over your life. God's vigor and strength in your life is not to be enjoyed by men, but by God. Will you release unto him today? Will you allow him to enjoy your life? Your life is never to be enjoyed by the government, but by God.